Hi folks, Andy here. Firstly, apologies for the last few videos. Apparently I've been told that the sounds intermittent in one video and non-existent in the others. I've no idea why. I have no idea what's happened. I'm using a different device to record these last two videos, and then I'll check out what's going on with my phone and find out. But I just wanted to end this debacle of James Herbert. Hopefully with sound this time, talk about the last two books. So I'm just going to get through them because books 1 and 2 on this list, it was a real challenge. Again, as with Richard Layman, I had my favourite book and the one that I thought was his best. With Herbert, it's a bit different because there's two books that I enjoy more than any other Herbert book, that I've gone back to more than any other Herbert book, that I think reflect who Herbert is more than any other. And I'm torn between my favourite and the one that I think is the most important. So I'm just going to do it in reverse order. I'm going to go with my favourite first and show you the book and stuff. So that is this one, Haunted. Came out in 1988. It's only a thin little book. Well-read copy of this. This is the original David Ash story. So I'm just going to pop this back on the shelf when I talk about it. So this is the original David Ash story, the one that introduced us to David Ash. So this is a collection of books, CDs, DVDs, stuff going around, all of the whole host of stuff. So I'm in the room where me things are. So yeah, it's this is the one that started it all, and this is, for my money, simply put, the best story that Herbert came up with. The idea is that David Ash is a paranormal investigator who's sent to a house where he's got a couple of days. I think he's got 3 days to prove or disprove whether it's haunted or not, and that's why he's there. And there's these 3 younger people that are there with their sort of caretaking nanny, and David Ash also has a bit of emotional baggage caused by something that happened to him when he was very young, which all congeals into one hell of a story, with what I consider to be one of the best twist endings in modern day horror. Now, some people may disagree, that's fine, but for me, I didn't see the end of this coming and didn't see how it connected to everything. And I was absolutely floored by it when I first read it. I thought it was an absolute monster of an ending and a genuinely harrowing twist, and yeah, a really scary book in general. So for me, Haunted is my favourite James Herbert book. It's about 220 odd pages long. It's not long, it's very quick. It's beautifully written. It's extremely exciting. It's his best ghost story. It's probably his scariest book. It's got his best twist ending. It's one of his fastest reads. And for me personally, it's the one that I love. I absolutely love it. But there's one other book that I'm going to put at number 1, just above Haunted, because I think it's not only the most important book that Herbert wrote, but a book that's just genuinely really important in general. And that is, get it out here, The Fog. This is the 50th anniversary version. I like the cover of that. It's not as good as the earlier ones, but I had to get it because of that cover. This came out in 1975. So his second novel. And it's not perhaps as well written. People have mentioned this. It's not as well written as The Rats in a sense. It feels a bit amateurish in places. It's gratuitously violent. It's got some unbelievable scenes of brutality and action and violence. Apologies for all this. Hold on. But the reason why this, for me, is his number 1 is because this takes what is probably his simplest idea and it makes it work. And it works on a level whereby there's so many other horror authors that have tried to follow in the footsteps of The Fog and do something similar to The Fog, but they've never done it as successfully. So the idea of The Fog is there's a natural gas that escapes, and it's got vague supernatural properties to it, and anybody who breathes it in goes mad, and they try to horrifically kill and mutilate other people because of the fog. That's really all there is to it. It's such a simple story. The idea of this fog that's spreading and it's sending people utterly mad, and you know, what's not to like about that? It is a wonderfly simple but really threatening presence. And I remember reading it again recently, looking out the window when there was a fog, because I live. I've got on this side over here is towards the village. That side is towards the hills. Excuse me, field and woodland. So there's very little that side of the house. And when we had the fog literally rolling in from the fields, you couldn't see more than 10 feet ahead of you. You know, and it was genuinely creepy. And reading this book, I purposely read it again when the fog was out there. You can imagine like this mist rolling in, and anybody who's caught up and it goes mad and tries to kill somebody. Really, really horrific, threatening, scary premise. And a book that I absolutely love. I mean, he tried to do something similar with The Dark, which I think is a solid book. Richard Lehman did One Rainy Night and Flesh, which is similar. There's loads of other authors that have had the idea of some sort of substance that controls people, but no one has ever done it as well as James Herbert. And it's one of his most violent, just splatterpunk books, which is just the style of him that I like the most. It's not as well written as other books. It's not as eloquent. It's not as well flowing. It doesn't try to be. All it tries to do is tell a good story. But I think from a pure horror perspective, a good story this is. And one of his most well-known, and in many ways it's a book that actually got him a lot of people disliking him. They thought it was too much, too graphic, too violent back in 1975. He made a lot of enemies because of this book. But nonetheless, this is, I think, a phenomenal story. And whilst it's not as perhaps good as Haunted, I don't like it per se as much. From an objective point of view, I think it's his most important book. It's the book that really hammered home that this was a guy who was taking British horror to a new level. And I think of all the books that I've read, this is the one that I attribute the most to, because I see so many other people doing stuff like this, and it's always a case of The Fog's the best. So it's simple. It's just my subjective opinion. There's no rights or wrongs. You may have a completely different set of books that are in your top 10. Somebody watching this might think that Ash was the best book that Herbert ever wrote, and if you like that more than any of the other books, then more power to you. And I'm glad you enjoyed it. Regardless of what you think is his best or not, I think it's sad that he did pass so early on. He died in 2013, and he's a horror author that I think the genre will seriously miss, because whilst his later years weren't particularly great, his early ones were so important, and I think some of his books are still so readable, and they're like time capsules, especially being English, living in England, predominantly about English stuff. They're time capsules of where I live and how the things I've predominantly lived through. And I miss Herbert. I miss the books. I connect with them on a level that I don't connect perhaps with Richard Lehman books. Again, maybe just to him being British and the books being set in England. And I think it's sad that we never got to see another masterpiece, and we never got to see more books from him. Because there's always the hope that he could have done one more Rats book. He could have done another great horror. It's sad, but it is what it is. But both Richard Lehman and James Herbert, two titans of the horror genre from different sides of the globe, both died tragically young, and both produced some cracking work. I'm going to be going on to other horror authors. There's a whole host of other horror authors I want to cover, as well as some contemporary ones that everybody knows, but my favourite or least favourite books. But that will do it for James Herbert for now. Thank you for watching, and take care of yourselves.